So the next thing that we have on our list today, and it's probably going to be about the last thing I have on my list aside from going back to the Baker's Creek catalog, the next thing that we have is planting tulips. I got a pretty tremendous amount of tulip bulbs. It goes up to about here. You know, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of tulip bulbs in there, and I saved them from the garbage can. A lot of these ones are starting to get moldy, and I'm told that that shouldn't be an issue. Some of them are sprouting, some of them are just all kinds of stuff. It's a mixture of all different kinds and colors of tulips, as well as marigolds, I believe, or daffodils. Daffodils, I think it is. Anyways, regardless. But so I have a ridiculous amount of these that I need to plant, and I really don't know if they're even going to sprout. So I have the perfect game plan. I'm going to plant them in a place that I don't know if anything can actually grow. So win-win, right? And I'm going to plant them. I have all of these here, different beds, and it goes down here, and then it's also the same on the other side. If you go past there, I'll show you in just a second. But anyways, I have a bunch of these beds that are along the house, and I don't know if they're going to grow because they've been sitting there pretty idly since before we moved there, since we actually looked at the house. I want to say probably at least 3 months. And when we went through the garden shed that we have outside, we found Roundup out there. And I know that I dug down under here for the first time in the soil today, and probably about 3 inches down, it's all just like beauty bark on top, and then it has broken down over time, and underneath there's landscape cloth. But there's enough broken down and composted material underneath the top layer that something should have grown in here. And about the only thing we have is a little bit of grass, right? Get it up. A little bit of grass kind of on the edge here, and then moss. And that's about the only thing that has grown here. So I have a pretty strong feeling that they sprayed probably a pretty hefty amount of Roundup in these beds, and I'm not going to eat anything that came out of these beds. So pretty much the only thing that I'm actually going to throw in there is flowers and pretty things, and hoping that it will grow, and maybe some year down the road, maybe like 5 years or so from now, maybe I'll feel confident enough with enough organic gardening and things like that. Hopefully maybe someday I'll grow food in there, but for now it's just going to be flowers and pretty stuff to look at. So we're going to go ahead and get going. We're going to dig up the little bit of grass that has actually grown in here, and then try and get rid of some of the moss. This bed is pretty darn dead, so we're going to see what we can do with it, and I'm going to cover it up with some straw that we get at the end when we're all finished. And so let's get cracking. Along the house here, there's one bed. There's another bed that we were just looking at here. Along the house right there. There is a whole section over here that is not actually like an official bed, like there's no boundary or border or anything. And so some of the some of the grass, I don't even know what those things are, but they're the bane of my existence at the last place I lived at. So we're going to dig some of those out of there as well. And that's about the only thing that grew there. I'm shocked, and it makes me even more confident that there's a bunch of Roundup sprayed here. So everything kind of flows downhill from the back of the house, and it flows down this direction. So most likely, not, at least for several years, we're probably not going to plant anything here. We may go ahead and forage like some chickens or something out here, but in reality, probably not a whole lot's going to be going on around here. Most of it's going to be up behind the house in the forest when we actually are able to cut it down, which we're going to be starting the process on tomorrow, and I'm so excited. It's a big process. We have to go through all the permitting and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to take a little bit of time to actually get it going, and I'm really hoping that by the time planting season comes, we can actually have that stuff logged, because we have to go through all different kinds of permits. We have to get a survey, and then we have to have somebody out here do like a water evaluation or something like that, and then we have to put in for like not changing of the zoning, but something pretty similar to that. We have to change it from like forest to whatever we want to do with it, basically. So that's going to be a little bit of a process. It's mostly going to take time more than anything. And so we're just going to go ahead and get the process started tomorrow and find a surveyor and get going on it. So now let's go ahead and get cracking on planting these tulips, all right? I think this one's ready. That was pretty easy. Like I said, like almost, oh, there's some more. Just so you know, this is totally not a how to plant tulips tutorial or anything like that. I've never planted tulips before in my entire life. My dad would definitely be the one to consult on that one. I am not. And in fact, he's probably going to get mad at me because I didn't actually ask him about this. But it's just time to plant the tulips. And whew, they are moldy indeed. But the person that I got these from said that the mold isn't a problem in planting. And really, since this is all just an experiment, I don't really care. So we're going to find out. We're going to plant as many of these as I have space for them. I'm going to put them probably about, I don't know, 4 inches apart. And it's just going to be a huge bed, hopefully, of tulips and daffodils come springtime. So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty excited. It's the first thing I'm planting on our new homestead. So pretty much the only thing that I do actually know about the tulips is that you definitely want to plant it so it's root side down and kind of like this. And I know a lot of these ones are first year bulbs, and I'm told a lot of them may not actually sprout a flower, and they'll probably just put up a stem, and then next year they'll actually produce a flower. So we're gonna see what happens. Maybe I should actually look up how to plant these because I don't even know how deep to put them. I'll be back. Okay, so we got a slight change of plans. I looked up how to plant the tulip bulbs, which I should have done before I actually started, but whatever. So it says you want to plant it or you want to dig a hole that is 3 times the height of the bulb. So this one is, I don't know, like 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So I'm going to have to dig a hole that is 6 inches deep. And like, there's all different ones. But I think probably most of the holes are going to have to be about 6 inches deep. And it also says you want to prep the area. I don't have 6 inches of soil, to be real. I don't want to dig out the landscape cloth that is dug in underneath here because that would just be insane. And I don't want to do it. It's like 3 inches deep. That would take me forever to do by myself. And so I'm just going to dig down to the landscape cloth. I'm going to kind of not till the soil, but just kind of loosen the soil as deep as I can get to where I get to the actual landscape cloth. And then I'm going to stop and I'm just going to do that all over. So there's black plastic under there. Maybe I can tear it out. There's like a little wooden border thing. We're doing this. So kind of my goal with getting this plastic out of here, I'm really hoping that I can kind of keep it in one piece and be able to possibly repurpose it for a different project that I have possibly going on and killing off any kind of grass or anything like that I want to kill off. So we're going to try and save this. I have no idea what the condition is anywhere else, but here it seems to be like pretty decent shape. A tool. I got the tool. Of course there's star bits. Plan might not work. Go like this. Well, this is where the landscape. There's landscape cloth on top of black plastic. Worms in here. That's a good sign. This is weird. Got a foot of it done. Definitely something big. need of some carbon. Oh, this is going to be a bigger project than I expected. So I think the chances of me actually being able to save this landscape cloth is pretty much nil at this point. So I'm just going to cut through the edges of it and see if I can at least save some of it. I don't know. It's not super high on my priority list to save it, but if I can, I will. So we're just going to cut around the edges and pull it up as we can. Well, I'm glad I made this choice because over there was like 3 inches deep, but over here is maybe, I wouldn't even say 1.5 inches deep. So I would have gotten all that planted and then come over here and had to tear it up anyways. So. Alright, so I think what I'm going to have to do with this is to do it in sections, I guess. Like I'm going to pull up the plastic to the point that there's no plastic over here, and then shovel a bunch of dirt over here. I'm probably going to loosen the soil a bit, and then pour the other stuff on top of it, and then just kind of do it bit by bit. See if it works. I can see the whole wire. I'm not anywhere near the wire. It's just a cable wire that's inactive, so I'm not super worried about it. All of this for tulips. I just have to keep telling myself it's not really for tulips, it's just tulips for a couple years, and then we can grow food in here. So definitely an investment in the future of being able to grow food. Because this is a lot of work to plant a bunch of tulips. It is stinky under here too. Ugh. Pretty sure it's getting dark in about half an hour. I think there's about no chance that I'm going to finish this today. I don't even think I'm going to get through half of this today. Are just so gross. It smells like compost that didn't have enough carbon in it. It's like just like putrefied plant matter. It's terrible. It's not just dirty. It smells so bad. I should be touching it, but I'm gonna finish this row, this little section here, and I'm gonna wrap it up for the night and do something else because this is not happening. All right. Ew. So until now, I thought it was some kind of, like maybe a gopher or something like that. or a mole or a vole or something like that that was digging these little holes in here. And then I found this. It's just a bunch of these, like, it's either dead plant matter, but I really think that this is just a bunch of dead snake skins. So I think that might be a snake hole. Kind of makes me wonder. To my knowledge, I don't think there's any really poisonous snakes around where I live, so I'm not really super worried about it. It's probably like a garter snake or something like that. So I'm not going to worry a whole bunch about it. We'll see what happens with it. So my battery is dying, and as well as the sun is definitely starting to set. So I'm just going to clean up all this stuff out here, and then I'll meet you back inside, and we will get back to the Baker Creek catalog.